Hello, pretty peoples of the world. Tonight, I want to do something a little bit different. I am going to be drawing a little bit, sketching this portrait of Erykah Badu from the 90s or the 80s. I should probably look up the time and the place and the shoot for this photo. Let me just show you real quick. I found it off Pinterest. Pinterest is my holy grail when it comes to references. Today, Trump was reelected as president. I'm not going to go into my political views. I think it's pretty obvious if you know me. But I am going to say that it is a very scary time right now. I woke up this morning feeling extremely gloomy and off-ish. I was like, something is just not right now. And couldn't put my finger on it. It could be a multitude of things, but then I remembered, oh, it's election day. Checked my phone, saw all the info, went on my socials, saw people extremely upset, rightfully upset, and not sure what to do next. And yeah, so that was my morning at 7 a.m. And I went on live on Instagram, was talking about it a little. Not many people joined. I don't go live like at all. That was like my first time in years, probably since I was like in probably 5th grade. Yeah, that far back. I really don't let people into my life that much unless it's on a private story. Which reminds me of another thing. I am afraid of phone calls. I don't know how, I don't know why. I can only assume that it's because growing up, I didn't spend a lot of time on the phone. Like, I had an iPod, I had my devices, but never really called friends except for my best friend. It just gave me a lot of anxiety to like just be waiting for a phone call, or even talking with my voice. For many years, I didn't want to speak like at all, so a phone call was a nightmare for me. And it sounds silly to say, but it's something I still struggle with. Like, with many of my friends, I will text them. Even big updates in my relationships, we would mostly text. I would say it's in my relationships that I would talk on the phone the most, just to keep that connection going. But still makes me uncomfortable, still makes me nervous, even if I've known the person for years. And I can't really put my finger on it, but just been practicing exposure therapy pretty much. Like, if I want to talk to someone and I know I can just call them, I'll call them. And, you know, it's not as bad as I think it is, even if there's an awkward silence. So there's that, something I've been working through that sounds very unheard of probably. But how many things seem unheard of, but it's actually a very big problem, or something a lot of people struggle with. So I just thought I'd say that. It also translates into interviews, conversations I have to have with managers. It just all makes me very nervous if it's happening through a phone. But anyway, back to the topic at hand. Woke up this morning feeling very heavy, and the one thing that was on my mind to ease it all was to create something and to make the most of the long day that I had at school. I've been thinking a lot lately about my aspirations and goals in life, and one of those is to create more artwork. I grew up making art. I am an artiste. Not ashamed to say it, but I am ashamed to admit that I barely do art anymore. For the past, I would say, 3 years, I've just kind of fallen out of love with it. It started when I went to college. I completed my first year at a community college here. I'm in upstate New York, by the way. Went in for fine arts. Did very well. Passed all my classes. Was on the dean's list. Got an A- on my portfolio. And also completed that portfolio in a day. I had a few projects finished, but 2 of them needed to be finished on the day of, and I completed those all in, I would say like a day and a half. So like it took the night before and the day of during class. I realized my strength. I realized just how creative and intuitive I am. This year, I also have had the pleasure of working on 2 commissions. My first being a cover for the mixtape of one of my ex's albums. And the second, which I'm currently working on, a painted curtain for a friend of mine, which I have struggled to stay on track with. And I honestly think it all comes down to putting so much emphasis on making money through art. I'm getting to a point in my life where I'm starting to think about what I can do with my passions. And one thing that I have been pondering on for years is selling my artwork and doing commissions professionally, art directing, with a little bit of art history mixed in there, getting my paintings in shows and museums. I've really been thinking about it. But I just have this really big fear of not being perfect in everything that I do. And I've had that issue since I was a child. I would literally go through sheets and sheets of paper if I messed up one line, as if an eraser didn't exist. And I think I just hated the idea of something not being good and perfect the first time. And I've stopped and started so many projects because of that. But I'm getting to a point where I feel like it would be a disservice to myself to not share my artwork. And so that's what I'm doing. I have an art account on Instagram if you want to go check it out, at Julene's Art Palace. That's JULENE'S Art Palace. And I'm slowly and surely building it up. It's been a fun time. But I want to encourage those of you that struggle with depression. And we all know that depression can manifest in many ways. It can be struggling to get up out of the bed, being extremely tired throughout the day and needing many naps and times of rest. And it can be feeling low energy. It could be not wanting to move your body. It can be negative self-talk. It could be isolating yourself, not going outside, or taking care of your obligations. I encourage those who struggle with that to, first of all, wiggle a little bit, move around, stretch, jump up and down, clap your hands, do a somersault if you want to, I don't know. Open up some windows, play some music, get a plant or 2. By the way, these are not all medicine or quick fixes. Please do get therapy if you can, or look into medication. It can help for a little bit. Talk to people, talk to your friends, take a walk, even if it's for 15 minutes, or even if it's just sitting on your front porch. Get some of that air. And put all that uncertainty and pain and confusion into something that brings you some joy, even if it's temporary. Today I woke up not sure what to expect from the day. But as I got going and got started, I found that there is beauty in everything. And that the fight for life doesn't stop just because we get the person that we wanted elected into office, or we get the leader that we want, or the Senate member. We will constantly be fighting for our liberation and our freedom to express and to live as we choose. Whether that's with Kamala or Trump or Biden or Clinton or Obama, keep on trucking on and make art that reflects the times, if you can. And that doesn't even mean that you have to dive deep into research on communism and Black Lives Matter and Palestine, which I encourage everyone to research these topics and form your own opinions. Be unbiased, but also empathetic. But just make art that reflects your feelings. It's not even something that has to be conscious. As soon as you make the intention to sit down, sit with your feelings, pick up a piece of paper or pen, start doodling or writing or taking a photo or anything that's a creative outlet for you, really, you are making a conscious decision to put your perspective and your emotions out into the world. And I encourage you to share it, even if you just show a coworker at work or your mom or Facebook. That shit deserves to be seen. And not for bragging rights, but you never know who that art could reach. Who that art could inspire and redirect and teach. You never know, and you'll never know until you do something for yourself. Something that feels good. So, if you haven't done anything but just get up, drink some water, maybe take your dog out, just know you're an artist just by existing and living in this crazy world and continuing on. And please, please don't give up on those things that you always wanted to do as a child. I don't know what those things are, but you can write about them. You can go through old journals. You can open up the attic and sneeze through all the dust and flip through all those books. Get deep into your notes app, all those heartbreaking poems about dusty exes. Open those up. Empathize with your younger self and everything that he or she or they might have felt. Those emotions are always there, sitting in your body. Some of them are dormant, some of them are bursting through the seams. But you'll only know until you allow yourself to stand right in front of them. So. But that is all I really have to say. I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope that it brought you a moment of peace solitude and quiet is not always a bad thing. All right, that's all, my loves. Have a beautiful night, and listen to some soul music if you're into it. Bye.